think this will work well with your clients? Give them this exercise?
Some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them? Right. You can help one with it, is worth it, you know? It's something to use yourself. Is that what you're saying, Michelle? Is that what you're saying, that? Something you can use yourself? Yeah. Yeah. So looking at it from this aspect, where you're saying like, oh, okay, this changes things a little bit, doesn't it? Right? So when you think about the process that the interviewer is going through, you know, and asking you this set of questions that have nothing to do with the question that you're asking, they have a whole different motive that for asking you that question. What does that? What kind of what does that do? What do you think that the impact of this exercise would be? What's it doing to you now?
Become more aware.
Ponder. What were you saying?
Become more aware.
Okay.
Of like what you're saying and what you're actually like, how you're answering things.
It also, well, from my point of view, it makes me like reconsider some characteristics and some traits about myself.
Okay.
And how I feel now about myself and what I did when I got hired. It makes me like rethink the questions too.
Okay. What do you think the benefits would be? What are the benefits of you having this, like the back office information to this? What do you think the benefits of that to you
Now when you want it, you know what to do, like what to take back.
Yeah. And you see why they do that, right? Because if they ask any of the questions on this page, if they ask any of these just straight up, are you, do you have a realistic appraisal of yourself? There's not a no answer during the interview. They want to find out the truth, and they know that you're going to lie. Because the question is not an open-ended question. It's a plain yes or no. And if I say no, then I lose. Who's going to say no? The thing is, it's almost like forcing you to lie if they ask a question like this. So the psychological aspect of it is that they have to ask you another question that leads to the answer, right? Yes?
I think with some people, too, that's interviewing, you can pick up on that person's vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can kind of read that person and kind of figure out the type of person they are. And that's like the flow of the
conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, becoming more aware, and especially putting your. So that's why I made the training like this, where instead of you being the interviewer, the interviewee most of the time, I put you in the position of the interviewer more of it, because it changes the concept. When you're there, you're like, okay, I know what you're doing. I know you really asked me. I'm certain. And so, because I always tell clients that I'm working with that the real question to always answer is to answer the question that they ask, and right after that, answer the question that they're asking underneath it. And the question underneath it is always this: why should I hire you? Always answer the question they ask, and then always end with why they should hire you, because of the answer that you gave. If you do that, you'll give a pretty good interview. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. In considering that. The interview is a two-way process. There's two things that are happening. Number one is that I'm deciding, first of all, I'm deciding, the interviewee, I'm deciding whether I want to work here or not. And that's very important to give confidence to your clients that are looking for work, that they're going in on equal ground. They're not going in to sell themselves first. First decide you want to work here. And so you need to be prepared to find that out first. Is that cool? Yeah, because I might sell myself like crazy, get in there like, I don't want to be with these crazy people. They didn't tell me the people there, if I put my lunch in the refrigerator, people going to take it. I know that don't happen around here, but I'm just saying. And you're not going to find that out during the interview, right? So, but there's some things you need to know. Yeah, there's some things you need to know, right? Now, if you're working with one of your basic, your basic client, what is one of the things that they need to know before they work in a place? What are one of the basic things they need to know? Yeah, no, not yeah. That's right. That they should. Right. But what do they need to know about the company that's hiring? What do they? What's the position?
Salary,
Mhm.
workload, qualification,
The hours. Okay.
things you need to know about the client,
Mm-hmm.
how
Like
safe
if I'm,
it is.
yes, exactly. Because I'm a client, I'm gonna have to stop and take medication at every 4 hours. You know, no matter what I'm doing, I got to stop and take medication. You know, is that gonna affect the others around me here? You know, am I gonna be accepted here? Yes.
And things that may like trigger their symptoms, like depending on the type of environment that they're in, that it can like trigger something within them to make them become symptomatic.
Yeah. Can you give me like an example of that?
Like if we have clients that are like they don't like to be like around loud noise or something,
Okay.
or they don't like to be around a lot of people, and if they're in an environment where it's going to be a whole bunch of loud noise and a lot of people, they may become like paranoid or they get scared or something like that.
Right. So one of the things you would help that person to do is that when they go on an interview, that they have to find a way. Now they can't say, "Are y'all noisy around here?" You know, it's a flip. It's the other way. But you can help them to find a way to phrase that question to get the answer that they really want. You know. And that itself leads to some case management, some communication. Because the main thing is that no matter who your client is, the ability to help them comes from trust. Bottom line. People need help, but won't let you help them because they don't trust you. And people only deal with people that they know, like, and trust. And one of our major roles as service providers is to develop a level of trust. And level of trust starts from the door when they walk in and who they encounter there, all the way to their time sitting with you in the office. And most come in with the idea that you're there to take something from them. True? That you're there to find a way to get them off of their disability benefits, and you're working in cohorts with them, and so they really, is that true? Yeah, I mean, with this group, it's true. It seems like they have this thing in the back of their mind that I can't really let them know, you know, because if they find out that I'm that good, you know, then they're gonna report it, and I'm gonna lose my benefits. And so, even though you're giving them the tools here to move forward, they're resisting that change. They're resisting it psychologically because they see you as a person as part of a system that they have to be. Yeah. Understanding that psychology about your work, I hope it helps because I have to, you know, I think this way so that I can develop trainings to help you. So I kind of like go like all, you know, beneath and under, but those truths have helped me to be able to develop the kind of programs that actually lead to change. So do you think you'd be able to use these new tools now? The mock interview, which was the cards that we used at the beginning, where you just ask the person to think of a job that they want, that they do, that they don't want to do anymore, and they immediately become an employer, right? And that's empowering, right? That's empowering. And you know, if they get a job, they might be able to hire somebody to do the dishes, to do the cooking, to drive them around, right? So they can give them, you know, a set of dreams to work for. You can use it for so many things once they start the idea process, right? The basic skills PowerPoint, just something that gives them, especially if they're visual learners, you know, you want to use something that gives them something to look at. And so the PowerPoint, like I said, we make it accessible to you just through a link on the MHANJ website. We'll be forwarding that to Beverly, right? Yeah, okay, cool. And then the 50 interview questions, you can use them all by themselves, right? If you've got time, or if they put them to work with somebody, just them going back and forth and answering these questions is something that can help them a lot. It's a tool. Make as many copies as you want. Give them out to them. Use this as group work like you see me use it with. Do role plays, all kinds of stuff that you can do with it. Have them work on a couple of questions a week. You could just run with it. So I hope that you find this to be an effective tool for you there. And then the coup de grace, you know, the best of the best is to me taking this form here and showing them the interviewer side and letting them do the work of being the interviewer and trying to come up with the questions that they have to ask in order for them to get the answers that prove out these characteristics more than anything else. And if they were to do the whole sheet, I mean, this itself could take 3 months for them to come with this, just working sections on this. You know what I mean? And not that you want it to take a long time, but the reality of it is that as they start that process, they'll end up better. They'll end up better. They'll end up a bit better at it. Okay, you can actually gauge the results. When I developed this, it had to be outcome based. It had to be okay. When they finish this now, I said when they finish this, they're going to do good interviews. They're going to do a better interview by some percentage, because if they really do this, they're going to end up with a different psychology about what's going on during the interview process. Cool. All right, so can you share with me one thing that you learned that you'll be able to use around the table, and then I'll tell you what I learned, and then we'll be out of here. How's that? Cool. So let's go, starting with me.
I guess, well, even though this wasn't a word we said, but kind of like being patient. You have to be patient because even as like, interviewing the client, sometimes you can get a little, not annoyed, but you're kind of looking for something that you're not getting, but you have to understand that they may not be at that level.
Yeah.
So kind of like just being patient and just working with them and making them be more open and motivated.
Okay, cool.
I learned about some other challenges that can actually stop the client from going about with their interview and seeking help.
Michelle?
Make
See, I'm trying. I'm concentrating on the lines part. I want to make sure I had it right.
I've learned a lot, but you know what? Can you answer this question for me? I would really like to know, like number 13, how long do you expect to work for us if you're hired? How would you answer that? That is something I would like to know. How would you answer that question? If the actual
I plan to work with you as long as I can. What opportunities do you have for me to grow with the company?
Let that
Don't try to stump the teacher over here. What did they? The reason why I answered it that was, what did they really ask? They're asking, are you planning on? Are you looking for long dedication? Are you looking for long? Yeah. Are you dedicated? Right? Are you looking for a reason of interest in the field? Right? Do you have career goals? All of those can use that question there to answer that. True. Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else? No. Always answer the question and the question, because the underlying question has nothing to do with what you're asking me. And I immediately know that a question that has to do with how long, you're asking for dedication, you're asking for stability. So I'm going to answer a question that shows that I have that skill or that mindset. Cool. Thank you.
Well, basically, I learned just how to work with the client more, like on piggyback when Mia said patience. Now I have some questions and different ideas on what different groups and stuff I can run with this.
Okay, cool.
So that can definitely help them. Not even one-on-one, just working together too. These questions.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe ask the clients, have a client answer the question and have the other client say, okay, well, you can say this, you can do this, you can give different suggestions. So, yeah.
If this was the full day workshop, this is part of what it says there. What you say? Oh, boot camp, right? This is a boot camp. This people cry during this workshop, because the reality of it is that I have people interviewing before a panel, and that panel is using this sheet and giving them feedback after their interview, and then they have to come back again. It's almost like getting kicked off the island, you know. Yeah, but the group has to be really tight to do that, because they're giving very constructive criticism. Because what happens during that group is that they get told things that the interviewer will never tell them their whole life. Yes.
Can you be too self-conscious though?
As far as you mean, who, the interviewer?
Well, I mean, going on an interview, can you be like too self-conscious about like what you're doing, what you're saying, that you kind of sabotage the interview?
It's possible, especially if you're fresh. Like, especially you start working with somebody with this, they got all this thing running in their mind. But it's just like starting anything. Driving a car, you think about everything. But after a while, you don't think about it anymore. You know, so you're able to just, you get less and less as your confidence rises, you get less self-conscious. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good, that one.
I
I would say I just learned a better way to communicate with the clients a little bit better about interviewing. Because I normally just speak to them about, like their appearance, their resume and stuff like that. So I just think these questions would just be like, a better way of preparing them for the job process.
We have a really great, I hope they send me back again to do this. I have a great job preparation PowerPoint that helps you, even it has interviewing in it, but it goes through the real stages and the in-depth of what it is. For everything that you just said, even the resume itself, like why resume, why objective, what's the objective for, and is yours doing it, those type of things, very, very in-depth stuff. So I'm going to make a note that that's something else that I can promote. Yeah, y'all write notes and stuff on the door. So can you get that guy again?
When you said that when you're answering the questions on the interview, like have a focal point, it should always come back to like why should you hire, why you should hire, something like that. Like why should you hire?
Yeah, why should we hire you?
Right. It should always be that, and I think that'll be good for the clients because they can sometimes get like sidetracked. We're speaking like they'll say, well, wait, what you say like when I'm going like doing a mock interview where they get like lost.
Yes.
So just telling them to keep that in mind that okay, everything that you say needs to be consistent with why you should be hired.
Yes. So, yes. Yeah. That's a separate question. That when you lose it, go to that question, answer that. Right? Cool. Karen?
Basically, like the questions, I feel as though give them like more of a heads up at the preparation. So, I like you can use it like start like you said, starting off small, starting like a cheat sheet type of thing. So it just gives them more like aware of what questions may be asked, where they're not going, and it's not just out the blue, and they're sitting there like, looking at the ceiling. So I feel it's kind of prepared me to. So
like the next one.
Yeah, my next interview, next step, whatever. I learned too, right?
One thing about this field that you're in is that getting another job, funding runs out, all kinds of things moves us along. I've worked with over 30 agencies in my career. And I wish I had them all back as clients now, because they owe me money. Because it was all the stuff I did for them. But you understand. But you yourself, the thing is, it's hard to give somebody something you don't have, right? And so I challenge people to think about their own job situation, say, where is my career headed, and when's the next time I'm going to have to interview, and am I prepared? And am I prepared for it? Sheree?
Now you're basically just thinking about my next step. Like, as far as even though I can't help nobody, I can't help myself. I'm gonna get somebody information if I don't know information myself. So better myself off of myself.
Okay, what I was thinking of in giving out the interviewing questions to maybe apply, and realizing that the questions have something underneath it. What they're asking is not really what they want. They have hidden agenda. Now, if I'm dealing with a client and I want them to understand that, remember that they're asking you these questions, but this is not what they want from you. They want to see, as you say, your inner self. And knowing that the clients that we're dealing with here are all paranoid, schizophrenic, and whatever. Where is the trust in believing that when I go out there, I'm going to get this job? If they go out with a fear that what is being presented to them is not what they really do.
I'd rather
That's a challenge, I think.
It's a challenge, but what's the lie to tell them instead?
I don't know.
What lie should you tell them instead? Because that's just the truth.
Tell them a lie and see what.
No, that's no. What if that the truth of the matter is that the questions they're asking have a hidden agenda.
Right.
That's it. So if you don't tell them that, what are you going to tell them instead? It has to be a lie.
Would they build the confidence when you want to go out there?
Well, I think yes. I've seen the results over the years that the answer has been yes to that. That them knowing that, oh, that's probably why I didn't do good out. They were asking me this. That's why I use this. They come up with it themselves. This does it for you.
They misunderstand the question a lot.
Yes.
And it's just like basically skill in a way that we can help them. Like break the question down more for them.
Yes. If you give them this and they look at this and you saw all the thinking y'all was doing, right?
Can
one answers that? Which one answers
I don't know
that?
what's going on here.
Which one answers that? Which one answers that? That lets them feel on top of the game. It lets them feel like, oh, next time they ask me this, I'm gonna say this, and then see the it's not a rating sheet on it, but then you give them the questions there, and then let the other person rate them and ask them the questions that they put there, and then rate them on how well they answered it and give it back to them as a tool.
Let me just say something to Sean over there.
Yeah.
Since you deal with CE most of all, what I am looking for is this. If you give them that, and I'm trying to see, aren't they going to feel more paranoid?
Well,
and having the fear of going out there to face a change that they may not be able to handle.
I mean, that is something that comes up that they get afraid. Like, if I know one client in particular, like if I put this in front of him, is going to like he's going to get really, really like, oh my gosh, this is so much. I'm actually this, what I don't want to do. And for those clients, I think like I try to break it down as simple as possible. So like when we do these questions, I might have to like maybe make a separate sheet for him or just break down each particular question, because for some clients, and it does depend on like the illness,
right,
they're not going to be able to receive, you know, this as well as just somebody else. So I mean, I think it just goes to using discretion.
Yes.
Like who we can use this with and who we can't.
Right.
So you know, everybody's not going to get it.
Yeah. And I think you're right about that. There are some that are going to have that, but I think they're not the majority. I think there are some, and because of that, you may have to. They probably won't do well in an interview because they're going to be paranoid whether they had these questions or knew there was an underlying or not.
Right.
So it's their illness that you're dealing with, not the reality of the world that they're going out into. And they probably are ones that you would have to use another track with, like Deshaun is saying. But I think the majority of them, I think between 70 to 90% of them are really looking for something to say, I know I have more control of this. At the end of the interview PowerPoint, it actually points out that because you know this, you now have only 15% of the interviews out of your control. Number one, it's my interview, not yours. That's number one. I'm not going to an interview that's their interview. I'm going there to find out whether I want to work there. That's the first thing when I hit the door. I want to know if I want to work here. Now, don't tell them to say that. But they would, I know. But the mindset is I'm going there to find out whether I want to work there first. And then whatever process that takes, it might be a process of questions. It might be what they see, right? Oh, I like the way the place looks. Oh, everything's on one floor. I don't have to go upstairs. There's, security is here. So I feel all of those things might say, okay, I want. And once they decide that they want to work there, then the next step to that is to sell yourself.
And for me, that is, having said what I said on the part of the client, for myself, my experience that I picked up from there is that interviewing questions are very, very, very nice, because it gives you an eye opener. It shows you how to go in there, and as you say, how to tell them what you want them to hear.
What they're asking.
What they are asking, but at the same time, it should be the truth about who you are.
Yes,
and we will not be scared, knowing that I know what they're looking for and I'm going to give it to them.
That with researching the company and all those little things works out just fine. Ooh. You know what? I gave y'all 4:30, and y'all could have been like, it's 4:30. I also wanted you to see that there's an interest level that develops when you're working with people like this. And like I said, if I really do this all day, it's a 6 to 8 hour workshop, and it really gets deeper along the way, and you leave better about it. What I learned is that you guys are part of a great team. I believe that you have your heart set on helping others, and it takes a special kind of person to do that. So I hope that I encourage you, because I really love this field, and I love helping people stay in it and help more people, right? Because if people stop, then who's going to help? Right? If people like you don't continue, even if you get another job, it's probably going to be in this field helping somebody, and that means that you have a special characteristic. So I applaud you, and I thank you. Thank you. And everybody sign in on this? www.wctrumpet.com. When you go on there, you will be able to sign up for a free journaling program. free journaling program that'll help you to, you'll see. If you see it, it tells you what to do, and then from there I'll be in contact, okay? Thank you very much.
Bless you.
All right, Mr.
Maybe you can help
Thank you.
me.
Yes.
Thank you.
This question.
She about to run a whole 150. Like, so another one.
Just a couple of questions. Like, I don't know. I mean, should I really answer this? Like, I don't think I should. Like, what irritates you about your coworker? Like, all the things I start.
What do you think they're asking when they're asking you that? What irritates you about coworkers? What question do you think?
She don't want to talk because I just opened
No, I'm thinking. I like to judge this.
What do you think they're really asking?
Like, do I get along with
So
everyone?
how can you answer
basically?
that and tell them that?
I was like, basically nothing. Like, can I really say that? Or I
Well,
really don't know how to
if
answer that.
anything did irritate me about it, how does supervision work?
It was real good.
Yeah.
That's
No,
what
see,
the
it's-
judge
it's-
said. Like, you gotta bring
If
them
they, you
back.
ask me a question, I say, well, if something did irritate me, I'd ask them a question back. If
I'm
something
glad
did
you guys
irritate me,
enjoyed.
how does supervision work around
Well,
Oh,
doing
okay.
the series, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
it? Right? Do you think that answers the question?
Because there was
You
one
say-
guy that came before him, right?
Because what they're really asking you is, do you get along with others? And everybody doesn't get along with everybody, and that'll be a lie to say, oh, I just get along with everybody, I'll never have that problem. But then that would mean that you have an unrealistic expectation of yourself, right? If you answer it that way, and they're trying to find out this, you have a realistic appraisal of yourself, you'll get a 4.
Okay.
But if you ask that, you find out 2 things. You get a question that you need answered, and you answer their question. Cool?
Sure.
All right. And what else?
Like that one, like, are you willing to put interest of the owner ahead of you? Number 37.
Well, what interests are you talking about, sir?
Like, I don't know.
No,
That,
that's
what
the
would
way.
that
That's the way.
Yes.
Well,
what
that's
interest? Yeah.
yeah. What interest? Yeah. What interests are you talking about, sir?
Yeah, I know the skills. What interest? Okay.
But number 8, they ask you, are you applying for the job? Like,
Yes, I am.
yes, you have to keep your options.
Yes, I am.
open.
But this is my number one. If I get this job, I'm not looking for anything else. But I am looking for work, and I have a couple of other people in the mix. You know, but I'm glad you gave me this interview because you're the one that I want. And then now's the time to keep your research up. You know, yeah, because when I looked at your company, I saw that, you know, last year you were, and I want to belong to a company that is progressively moving toward that.
Slow it down.
Sold me.
Slow it down.
I have one. 27. What is more important to you than money or the
But it's
well, to me, honestly, I think it would be the work just because I need the experience. Because I'm the youngest one here.
Mhm.
I'm only 22.
Okay.
So, like, I don't have a lot of experience underneath my belt.
Mhm.
So sometimes, okay, yeah, the money is good,
Mhm.
but I think the experience.
Why do you work?
To make the money.
And so you can do what?
To, I guess, move on to the next stage of life.
So that you can do what? Like, what do you do with the money?
I pay bills, take care of my child.
Those
take
are more
care-
important than working.
So if they ask me, I just have to save money.
No. What's more important to you? Oh, the question is, what's more important to you, the work or the money?
Yeah.
I say they go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. They're both important to me, right? I love my work because it gives me a chance to use my skills in a way that gives me pleasure, joy, you know, sense of, you know, accomplishment, etc. And the money, as a matter of fact, what is the money around here? I mean, what, you know, I mean, that could be a segue into speaking about what they're paying. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Any others?
Yeah, I know.
Number 43. How do you propose to compensate for your lack of experience?
Well, first of all, I was wondering what kind of extra training do you give to employees that want to advance? I like putting things back on them. Right? I like putting things back on them if I can.
What kind of training do you want?
do you provide for employees that want to advance?
Number 40, what do they mean? Like, do you have any blind spots?
Yeah. Do you have any areas that you don't see? Obviously, I do. And the answer to that is yes, I do. And if they ask you what are they, say, I don't know. They're blind spots.
But won't that be like a smart remark to
No,
them?
I'm saying,
Yeah,
I
like
would,
sarcastic
but
or something?
it's not
No?
sarcastic. It's not, it depends on your personality, because I can say it and get away with it,
Oh,
right?
okay.
During an interview,
Right, right.
you know, I say, well, that's a good question. I never thought about it, because a blind spot means something that I can't see. So, is there something that I don't see that you think is a blind spot for me?
Or within the company, basically.
Yeah. What are some of the areas that you saw blind spots in others here that have harmed them, and then I might be able to give you a better answer to that. Because see, one thing I don't move forward with an answer for is unless I have clarity about what you're saying.
Right, what the answer to.
It's not about me shooting off great answers.
Right.
It's about me asking good questions.
Right.
Because when you're interviewing, remember, the person that's asking the questions is the one in charge of the conversation.
Okay, the overqualified question number 42.
Mhm.
I think this is more of like a contradiction because they're asking, are you overqualified? But they're looking for people that's basically overqualified with the experience rather than people that don't have the experience and underqualified.
What do you think they're asking when they ask, are you overqualified? What's the real question? What happens to overqualified people that take a job that they are much better than? What happens to them?
I think they kind of take the job too serious. Number one, they I guess because of their credentials, it doesn't really work out with
Because they'll do what? Get a better job. Always be looking for a better job. So what they're really asking you is that because of your skills here, why would you stay here? That's what you have to answer. Anytime they ask you about overqualification, anytime they're talking about overqualification, they're talking about you're better than this position that we have here. What's going to make you stay? If a company offers you something at the level that you're really at, we're probably going to lose you. And what they're talking about is stability. That's the real question. See, one of the things that happens is when you do this the flip way and answer the questions, find the answers, the questions that you need to get these answers to, you'd find that as one of the questions that would lead to something that say, that's what you're really asking. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, this back page right here helps you to look at the questions totally differently. It's not what they're asking. What they're asking you is that they're trying to find out something on this page back here. And they're using that question to get to it. They might be finding out, your reason for the interest in your field or a realistic appraisal of yourself. Right down there in the code, they say, they're telling you you're overqualified. You're like, that's right, I sure enough am. And they say, oh no, this person, he thinks they think they're more than, so that means that they're gonna have a hard